Hi there, I'm Kathy Barker from Software Solutions, and this is one of a series of videos looking at Copilot from Microsoft 365. And this particular video and some of the earlier videos have been focusing on the application Microsoft Word. What we've looked at in earlier videos is how we generate content, create drafts using Copilot. And then we looked at how we create good prompts to get good results from Copilot. Following that, we looked at the auto rewrite, we looked at making changes, and we even looked at visualizing the information as a table. Now what I want to do is look at how do you chat with Copilot in Microsoft Word. Well, on the far right end of the Home tab in the ribbon is a button called Copilot. And if you click that button, you'll bring up what we call the Copilot chat task pane. Now what this lets you do easily is it lets you either understand what's going on with the document or ask for more concise information. The understand's really good. I actually used it on a very large document, just short of 300 pages the other day, and I didn't want to read the entire document, so I asked it to summarize the key points in the document. So if I go understand, I can then finish this prompt here, summarize this document into key points, and then Control Enter or click the Send button. What the Copilot will do in the Copilot chat task pane is it will look through the entire document and summarize it, and you can see it generating now. What I could then do is I could click this copy button, take a copy of it, go to another document, or if it's an executive summary, put it at the top of this document and simply paste it. It could go into an email, anywhere really. Now the other option that we had, if I scroll back up to the top here, is we had the option to ask. So I'm going to click ask, and then I complete this prompt in this area here. How can I more concisely describe what Copilot is capable of in Microsoft Word? So you can ask a question. When I press enter, and I actually don't have to go Control Enter, you can just go enter. Certainly, here's a concise description. So again, I've asked it to do something for me. Now what you'll also find here is there's some wee numbers, some citations. And when I click on this number, it takes me to that part of the document where it got that information. And when I click on this number 2, this citation takes me to where it got that information. So you will see referenced points in here that take you to certain places where it got that information. I could also just simply ask, just by clicking in here and just typing the prompt that describes what I'm after. So I might say, is there a quote by a New Zealand Prime Minister about courage? And when I press enter, it will proceed to find a response for me. It's combing through web results, through documents, etc. And here it is. Here is a quote by Jacinda Ardern, a former New Zealand Prime Minister, about courage. And here again is the citation, which if I click it, it'll take me to that website where it got that information. I can then copy that information, put it in an email, put it in a document, and use that content Copilot has got for me. Now the other thing to understand is you don't have to type your prompt if you don't want to. You actually have a microphone here, which I can't use while I'm recording. But if I click the microphone, I can actually orate and verbalize what it is that I'm looking for. I don't actually have to type it. And so that's a handy way also of putting your prompt together. Sometimes when there's information in this Copilot chat task pane, I find zooming in and zooming out is really helpful. So if I click on the task pane just to make sure that it knows where I'm referring to, if I hold the control key and move my mouse wheel towards me, I actually reduce the size of what's in the task pane, so I'm zooming out. But if I hold the control key and move my mouse wheel forward, I'm zooming in and blowing it up. I think you'll find also if you go Control minus, you'll reduce the magnification, and Control plus, you'll increase the magnification. to a comfort level. So be aware of that too. I do like the control and the mouse wheel to zoom in and zoom out, especially when there's a lot of information there. Now, as you chat more and more with Copilot, back towards the top of the Copilot task pane underneath Understand and Ask, you'll see there's a chat history. And if you go into the chat history, it'll give you any questions that you've been asking Copilot. And you can actually click on it and go back to those points and back to the chat history, and then click on the next one to read those points, and then you can go back to the chat history. Now, if you want to clear what you're seeing in here and start with a new chat conversation, I'll go into chat history and I'll choose new chat. And then I can start fresh with a new Copilot task pane and without all that other clutter that we had before, and start asking it more questions as a new chat. If I then go back to the chat history, if I want to delete any of these chat histories, I just rest on them and I've got a little trash can here. So I can delete a certain chat history with the trash can, or I could click this button down here and delete all my chat history in this Copilot chat task pane. But I'm just going to go for a new chat so it's nice and clean and I can start again. Now, Understand and Ask are probably the two most common types of prompts that you'd use in Microsoft Word, but they're not the only ones. Down here at the bottom of the Copilot chat task pane is View Prompts. And if I click this option and I go to Understand, Understand says, Understand is used to tell me more about a particular document or information in a document, or Understand is used to summarize a document, or Understand is used to list the pros and cons of an idea in a document or a document. Understand is also used for what are the important deadlines or milestones and who are the key stakeholders for this project. So those are the types of things you would use Understand for. And it's all sorts of prompts giving you ideas. But if I then went to Ask, Ask is used for how can Copilot help, or how do I do something. You can actually use it as a learning tool. So if you don't know how to create a table, you can actually ask Copilot, how do I create a table in Word? If you don't know how to apply a style or create a style, you can ask Copilot, how do I do that? So you can use it as a learning tool. It's not only asking questions about the document or what's in the document, it's also an opportunity to ask Word how to do things, so it becomes your helper. You can also use the Ask to give specific examples in the document on how to do something. So there is the Understand and the Ask. But if you go view more prompts, then you'll see that there's quite a few prompts, like how do I write more confidently? Or find specific information, or how can you explain to me in 3 sentences what this is doing, or list the pros and cons. So there's a number of prompts here that if you click, they populate this little prompt area down here, and then you add more detail. And if you wanted to save any of these, you've got a little save option here. So if I save write more confidently and I save list pros and cons, then if I ask it to show me saved prompts, I can see I've got 2 saved prompts. And if I turn this off, I go back to seeing all the prompts. And I can easily unsave them just by clicking this option as well. So there's all sorts of prompts in here under Ask, Understand, Edit, Analyze, and even job types. And if you were to click See All Prompts, you'll actually be thrown off. Let me just bring it into view. You'll be thrown off to Copilot Lab. And in Copilot Lab, and let me just hold the control key and wheel forward, are a whole lot of prompts. And you can ask for prompts that just relate to Word, which we're looking at in this video. And here they are here, all sorts of prompts, and you can show more. And it really gives you an idea of the types of questions you can pose to Copilot in the Copilot chat task pane when working with documents. Look, it just keeps going on and on and on. And if you wanted to know prompts that were outside of Word, you could go into Outlook, Teams, any of these applications. So this is Copilot Lab. And there's information in here about getting started. There's also information about what's new with Copilot, and updates for August, and improvements based on your feedback, improvements by month. So there's a whole lot of information in Copilot Lab as well, which I will just close and return to Microsoft Word, and then close here as well. So Copilot in Word allows you to generate content. It allows you to summarize content. It lets you rewrite content. It lets you visualize content as bullets, as tables, and transforms text. It allows you to ask questions about how to do things in Word. We also looked at the fact that when you select text and you go to the editor, you're able to ask it to check for any other similarity online to make sure that it's not a case of plagiarism. Some of the limitations with Copilot and Word at this stage, which no doubt Microsoft are working on, is that your chat information isn't saved in that chat window. It will disappear when you close Word. You'll also find that it doesn't work that well with smart art and tables and charts. It doesn't have a lot of support for a lot of languages at this point in time, but I still think Copilot offers you a lot. It gets you going and helps you form content and documents and revise documents so that they're intelligent. So definitely get into Copilot in Word. Bye, ka kite.